History doesn't remember the obedient. It forgets the agreeable. It buries the well-behaved. You want to be loved? Be soft, be silent, be replaceable. But if you want to be remembered, you must become fire. You must become a force that bends reality, not conforms to it. This world is not a cradle, it is a crucible, and it burns the passive into ash. Look around you. Monuments are not built for the humble. Statues are not erected for those who waited for permission. The names etched in stone are those who dared to act as gods, not beg for favor, but forge destiny. Those who live quietly are rewarded with applause while alive and forgotten the moment they die. Their legacy is politeness. Their tombstones read, "Nice, quiet, gone." And what is good, what is noble, what is worthy? Nietzsche answered without flinching. What is good? All that heightens the feeling of power in man, the will to power, power itself. Not kindness, not conformity. Power, the power to stand alone, the power to defy, the power to shape yourself into something unignorable. You were not born to blend in. You were born to become. Not to be accepted, but to ascend. Because in a world addicted to mediocrity, those who dare to rise will always be punished first and remembered last. The question is whether you want applause now or immortality later. Because if you won't build yourself into a god, this world will erase you, gently, politely, completely. Modernity has rewritten virtue, not as strength but submission, not as defiance but tolerance. You are told that to be good is to be quiet, agreeable, and ever forgiving. But morality that asks you to kneel is not virtue. It's a leash. You are praised for selflessness, but only when it serves someone else's comfort. You are celebrated for humility, but only when it dims your brilliance. You are trained to make yourself smaller, and then rewarded for disappearing. They call it progress. They call it maturity. But what it really is sterilization. They don't want you powerful. They want you pleasing, because a pleasing man is predictable, and a predictable man never rewrites history. You are told to seek balance when what you need is momentum. You are told to prioritize peace when what you crave is dominion. You are told to accept yourself when what you were born to do is evolve, violently, unapologetically, completely. This morality of ease, of self-acceptance without self-overcoming, is not kindness. It is collapse disguised as compassion. Soft morality is not goodness, it is sedation. It makes you manageable, predictable, harmless. And the more you comply, the more you dissolve. You begin to apologize for your hunger. You mute your voice to protect their fragility. You bend until you break, and they call it virtue. But the world doesn't need more nice people. It needs the dangerous ones, the self-forged, self-claimed, self-directed, those who are unafraid to offend mediocrity. Because goodness, real goodness, does not shrink. It shakes. It does not comply. It creates. It takes up space. It dares to exist without apology. The man who tames his power to be accepted will never know who he could have become, and anything less is not moral. It's manufactured. You were taught to fear power, not because it is evil, but because it is yours. From an early age, you were warned, don't be arrogant, don't be too ambitious, don't want too much. Stay small, stay quiet, be humble, because power, real, unapologetic power, threatens those who have none. Society has crafted an entire morality system around keeping you tame. It teaches you that your hunger is dangerous, your drive is toxic, and your need to rise is egotistical. It rewards restraint, not radiance. And you believed it. You learn to apologize for being intense. You made your passion palatable. You labeled your vision as too much and your confidence as too loud. You buried your strength under layers of politeness and approval-seeking. You fired being too big when the real danger was becoming invisible. But let's tell the truth. Power is not cruelty. It is clarity. Power is the ability to shape your environment instead of being shaped by it. Power is the force that says, "This is who I am. This is what I will do. Watch me." Without power, you become a spectator to your own life, a ghost in someone else's story. You don't live, you linger. The reason you feel stagnant is not because you lack direction. It's because you've been taught to distrust your own force, and that distrust is killing your potential. You cannot become what you are meant to be while fearing the very engine that will get you there. Stop fearing your fire, wield it, because no one builds anything with shame. No one ascends while apologizing. Let's kill the fantasy first. Becoming a god is not about glowing light, divine robes, or immortality. It is not reserved for prophets, messiahs, or men carved in marble. It is a decision, a process, a fight. Godhood, in its truest form, is the radical refusal to live beneath your potential. It is the act of claiming your existence with such force, such clarity, that the world can no longer ignore you. It is the reconstruction of the self, brick by brutal brick, until what stands is something undeniable. You are not born a god, you are forged into one, through rejection, through collapse, through the long, silent work of becoming. It begins when you stop outsourcing your authority, when you realize that no one is coming to save you, that no one is qualified to define you, not family, not culture, not even your past. You become godlike, not by dominating others, but by no longer submitting to the lesser versions of yourself, the version that doubts, that apologizes, that waits. To become a god is to destroy that version without mourning. It is to choose your own laws, your own language, your own architecture of meaning. It means becoming both architect and executioner, demolishing what was handed to you and building what must be born. And it is a lonely process, because few will understand. Most will call it arrogance. They'll say you're too much, too intense, too full of yourself. Good. Let them say it, because those words have never built a single monument. Only conviction does. You don't become a god by waiting for permission. You become a god by walking into the chaos of your becoming, unshielded, uninvited, and unstoppable. And yes, it will look like arrogance to the average. Yes, it will look like madness to the masses. That is the price of building something greater than consensus. But if you do not claim your place on the throne of your own becoming, someone else will write your fate, and they will not write you as immortal. There are two kinds of people in this world, those who wait to be chosen and those who choose themselves. The beggars wait. They wait for validation, for direction, for someone to open the gate. They kneel with hands outstretched, hoping to be invited to the table, not realizing they were born to build their own. They shrink their voice until it fits someone else's comfort. They hesitate before every bold idea, every defiant act, wondering if it's too much. They pull their courage through the lens of likability. They worship the system that ignores them. They cling to rules that cage them. They wait for justice from structures designed to erase them. And in the waiting, they rot. They ask for permission to be powerful. They ask for approval to speak. They ask for roles to play, never realizing they could write the script. And then there are the builders. The builders do not wait. They do not explain. They do not audition. They rise. They gather the chaos. They shape it into form. They bleed into the stone and carve their name with bare hands. They are not given thrones. They forge them. They speak without a microphone. They lead without a title. They move without applause. They don't wait to be seen. they become unignorable. History is made by builders. It forgets the beggars. Every invention, every revolution, every paradigm shift, birthed not by those who asked, but by those who acted. Builders do not live lives handed down to them. They violate the script. They set it on fire. They do not pray for change, they become it. They write new alphabets of power in the language of action. And yes, it's lonely. Yes, it's brutal. But it's real, and it's the only path that leads to permanence. If you want to matter, if you want to live beyond your death, stop asking. Start building. You want the throne, then bleed for it. No one tells you this part. Not the motivational speakers, not the life coaches, not the influencers peddling ease. But building yourself into a god is not a weekend retreat. It's not journaling and green smoothies and morning mantras. It is war with yourself, with the world, with the gravity that begs you to stay soft. Ascension demands sacrifice. The higher you rise, the more you lose. Comfort will go first, then certainty, then company. Most people can't handle your rise because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. You will be called selfish, arrogant, unstable, not because you are wrong, but because you are no longer containable. You will trigger the fragile. You will threaten the static. You will become too loud for a world addicted to silence. You will lose relationships, not all, but many, especially the ones built on your old obedience. You'll realize how much of your former life was built on shrinking, on pleasing, on staying small for someone else's comfort. You will wake up alone, not just in bed, but in thought, in vision, in fire. Because few walk this path and fewer survive it. You'll stare at your reflection and wonder if the cost is worth it. It is. Because what you gain, what you gain, is sovereignty. The power to live on your own terms, the power to die with a name carved in flame, the kind of life that echoes. This is not about being better than others. It's about being truer to yourself than you've ever dared. It's about becoming so undeniably you that the world has no choice but to remember. And the truth, the real truth, is sharp. It cuts away the unworthy. It sears the fake. It demands you walk through fire with your head up and your hands bloody. But it also sets you free. This is not the path of ease. This is the path of becoming. So yes, the price is high, but so is the view. And only gods get to see it. You are not promised remembrance. You are not owed a legacy. You are not guaranteed anything but this, a choice, to rise or to vanish. You can spend your life trimming your edges, folding your fire, smiling at the slow death of your ambition. You can kneel for approval, wait for recognition, hope to be seen. Or you can become the reason people look up. There is no middle path. No gentle in-between. You either carve your name into the structure of existence, or you are swallowed by the quiet, like billions before you. The question is not whether you are worthy of greatness. The question is, will you choose it anyway? You were born with breath and will. That is enough. The rest is built, broken, rebuilt, without applause, without certainty, without rescue. You want meaning? Create it. You want glory? Bleed for it. You want to be remembered? Then stop begging and start becoming. If you won't build yourself into a god, then prepare to be forgotten. Because the world does not kneel to the kind, it kneels to the undeniable, and that is what you must become.